Heartwarming revelation. My son banned me from his wedding, then shocked me with an 80,000 bill. Jack's heart sank as he stared at the letter in his calloused hands. How could he, a devoted single father who dedicated his life to his son, be banned from the most important day of Ethan's life? It felt like the earth had shifted beneath his feet, leaving him adrift in an ocean of pain. He remembered the countless nights spent under the hood of a car in his garage, teaching Ethan the value of hard work. Now here was his son, a successful lawyer, thrusting an ultimatum towards him. Pay up or stay away. In those initial moments, Jack's emotions churned. The buzz of wedding preparations echoed in the affluent neighborhood surrounding him, where the scent of fresh flowers hung in the air, a stark contrast to his own humble beginnings. As Ethan prepared to wed his college sweetheart, Jack realized that their once unbreakable bond was hanging by a thread. He felt the judgment all around him, whispers from the neighbors stinging his ears. Did they wonder if he was good enough? Did they see him as just a mechanic from the other side of town? As he pulled himself from those dark thoughts, a wave of memories spilled over him: the laughter, the long talks he and Ethan had shared about dreams and perseverance when life got tough. Jack remembered working 2 jobs to put food on the table, and chasing away the shadows of doubt that tried to creep into a parent's heart. But now doubt had found its way back in. Was he truly a failure as a father? What had gone wrong between them? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Jack spent the days leading up to the wedding in the garage, the familiar smell of motor oil wrapping around him like an old friend. The soft sound of his tools tinkering sparked memories of when Ethan would sit beside him, eyes wide with admiration. But now the very sight of that dusty workbench stung with loneliness, a reminder of the son he felt slipping away. Each rhythm of hammer against metal felt like a heartbeat missing from their connection. Finally, the day before the wedding arrived. It was time to confront Ethan, to seek answers, to understand just how their relationship had reached this bitter precipice. Jack pushed through the crowd outside the venue, heart racing. He hesitated at the entrance, the soft strains of music spilling out to him like an embrace, but this time, it felt all wrong. As he stepped inside, he fought against the tightness in his chest and the anxious tears in his throat. When he finally laid eyes on Ethan, everything else faded away. The room, the chatter, the laughter, it all vanished, leaving only the two of them standing at this emotional crossroads. Jack could see the tension etched on Ethan's face, a mixture of happiness and something far more complex. Questions hung thick in the air, an unspoken fear of the inevitable confrontation looming. What if this moment, rife with opportunity, could be the catalyst for change? As they locked eyes, Jack made a decision. No matter the wealth surrounding them, real love and connection couldn't be bought or sold, could only be felt. Would they find their way back to each other? Or would this be the final chapter in their story? Jack took a deep breath, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. He stepped forward, slowly closing the distance between them. Ethan's brow furrowed, an unmistakable tension hanging between them, throbbing with unspoken words. Jack's mind raced. What would he say? How could he begin to bridge the chasm that had formed so rapidly? Ethan, his voice came out softer than he intended. He cleared his throat and tried again. Can we talk for a minute? The room buzzed with chatter, but to Jack, it felt like they were the only two people in a crowded world. Ethan's gaze flickered, uncertainty mingling with a hint of defiance. He nodded hesitantly, leading Jack away from the radiant lights and laughter into a quiet nook. The noise grew faint, replaced by the sound of his own heartbeat, roaring in his ears. I got your letter, Jack managed, the weight of those words heavy between them. I just want to understand why this is happening. He hoped his sincerity would resonate, that Ethan would hear the love layered beneath the pain. Ethan crossed his arms, a defensive gesture that sent a pang of hurt through Jack. You know why, Dad? His tone was sharp, like a crack of thunder on an otherwise clear day. No, I don't. Please help me out here. Jack felt the desperation clawing at his chest. I've been a mechanic all my life. Yes, I didn't have money to give you, but I gave you everything I could, didn't I? Ethan's expression softened for the briefest moment, but then it hardened again. You think money is the issue? It's not about the money, Dad. It's about everything else. He gestured vaguely, as if his words danced just out of reach. What else? Jack pressed, desperation mounting. All those years I tried my best. I remember how hard we worked together. I thought you were proud of me. Proud? Ethan's voice raised slightly, then dropped, the shadows of hurt creeping into his expression. You were always working. You missed my basketball games, school plays, even my graduation. You were there in body but not in spirit. Jack felt each of those words pierce through him. It was true. He had sacrificed so much time, energy, but what he hadn't fully realized was the emotional distance it had created. I'm sorry. Jack's voice was barely a whisper now. What can I do? Ethan ran a hand through his hair, a gesture that revealed his own internal struggles. You need to understand the value in being present. Not just in your physical form but emotionally. I need you there for this marriage, not a shadow of the past but the father I wanted to look up to. Stung. But Jack could see the flicker of something else in Ethan's eyes, a glimmer of hope. Then let me try, Jack said, his voice steadying with determination. Help me understand. I want to be there for you. Can we start over? As the words hung between them, the walls that had built up felt insubstantial. There was a spark of connection, a chance for rebirth. Jack could sense a shift, but he also felt the enormity of the challenges that lay ahead. Ethan hesitated, weighing the words with a deep breath. Maybe. But before he could finish, the sound of laughter drew closer, cutting through their moment. A pang of reality hit Jack like a cold breeze. The wedding was happening soon, and they didn't have much time. Let us talk more. Tonight? Jack offered, a tentative plan taking shape in his mind. Ethan nodded, his expression unreadable. There was both a possibility for healing and an understanding that emotions were still raw. Stepping back into the vibrant crowd, Jack glanced for a moment at Ethan, searching for reassurance. He caught a glimpse of hope reflected in his son's eyes. But as the evening approached, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that another storm was brewing just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to explode. Could they truly mend what was broken? What awaited them in their talk tonight? As the evening progressed, the twinkling lights of the venue felt almost magical, punctuating the laughter and joy surrounding them. Jack's heart, however, was heavy with a mix of anxiety and hope. He moved through the crowd, stealing glances at Ethan as he turned to engage with friends, his laughter ringing bright, yet somehow distant to Jack. Every step echoed with reminders of the past, the missed events, the silence that had grown between them over the years. Jack couldn't shake the weight of regret pressing down on him. Each smile Ethan shared with his friends looked like a door closing, a reminder of the barriers Jack felt he had built. He found himself at the edge of the dance floor, caught in the whirlwind of celebrations, but his own world felt static and frozen. The melody, a sweet, upbeat tune, twisted in his chest. He watched people dance, couples moving effortlessly together, while his eyes searched for a moment of connection with his son. Suddenly, the music shifted to a softer ballad, and Jack's heart leaped at the sight of Ethan walking toward him. He seemed different, more relaxed. Or maybe it was just the calmness that the music created. Hey, Dad. Ethan's voice cut through the haze, and the tension in Jack's shoulders eased just a little. Hey, Ethan, Jack replied, his own emotions bubbling to the surface, wanting to pour forth but held back by hesitation. Tonight's a big night, Ethan remarked, a smile breaking through the weight of their earlier conversation. You ready? Jack nodded slowly, wanting to embrace every moment but feeling the urgency of their earlier talk. Yeah, but I want to make it even bigger, you know? What we're doing tonight, it's a start for us. Ethan seemed to ponder this for a moment, his brow slightly furrowed. You really mean that, Dad? Because saying it is one thing, but showing it. His voice trailed off, the doubt lingering in the air between them. Jack felt a pang of sorrow at his son's skepticism. I know it won't be easy. I won't pretend I can fix everything overnight, but I'm willing to fight for you. For a brief second, Ethan's expression shifted. Jack saw the flickering of that glimmer of hope they had shared earlier, but it was swiftly replaced by the shadow of years gone by. Okay, let us start with something small then, Ethan suggested hesitantly. Can you do the father-son dance with me? I know you've been pushing this aside, but it mean a lot. Jack's heart raced. The father-son dance had always been a significant moment, one filled with laughter, tears, nostalgia. Of course, he said, trying hard to sound more confident than he felt. I'd love to. As they positioned themselves at the edge of the dance floor, the atmosphere around them shifted. Guests took notice, a circle forming, anticipation bubbling in the air. Each step they took away from the rest of the crowd felt monumental, as if they were leaving behind the past and stepping into a new chapter. Ethan's hand reached up, gripping Jack's shoulder for support, and Jack could feel the warmth radiating from his son. As the music played softly, they began to move together, awkwardly at first, both of them finding their footing in an uncharted territory. You still have 2 left feet. Ethan laughed softly, breaking the tension, a smile spreading across his face. Hey, I've been working on my engine skills, not my dance moves, Jack shot back, allowing himself to chuckle. They swayed gently, and for the first time in a long while, Jack felt a connection, a thread weaving through the years of distance. With each oscillation, the ache in his heart softened. Yet, as they danced, Jack couldn't ignore the undercurrent of something more significant lurking beneath the surface, waiting to surface, something Ethan hadn't revealed yet. What did he really want to say? And would it change everything all over again? The moment hung like a delicate balance, and Jack felt another shift, deeper this time, a storm inside waiting for the right moment to break. As the song drifted to a close, Jack felt the warmth of Ethan's presence. It was a small miracle amidst the chaos of their history. But the growing silence was punctuated by the faces of family and friends surrounding them, all smiling, their eyes filled with curiosity. Jack inhaled deeply, trying to shape his thoughts, to prepare for whatever was about to unfold. I know this isn't easy for you, Ethan said, a flicker of seriousness returning to his expression. And it's not easy for me either. But there's something I need to tell you. Jack's heart sank, anticipation and fear swirling in tandem. What's on your mind? I don't want to hold on to old grudges anymore, Ethan replied, the anxiety creeping back into his voice. But I need you to understand how hard this has all been for me. It's not just about the times you weren't there. It's everything. The weight of his words pressed down like a lead blanket. The laughter and music faded into a low hum as the gravity of the moment enveloped them. Jack's palms were sweaty, his heart thumping loudly in his chest. He wanted to reassure Ethan, but first he had to hear him out. I get it now, Ethan continued, but I can't just forget. I seriously thought about not letting you come to my wedding. Jack's stomach twisted at the mention of the word wedding. The thought of being left out of such an important event crushed him. What? Why? I felt hurt, let down. I thought if I included you it would just bring back all that pain, you know? Like a reminder of what could have been, his voice faltered. Emotions bubbling just beneath the surface, Jack's mind raced. I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I want to be there for you, Ethan. But this is the chance for us to change that. Ethan searched his father's eyes, trying to gauge his sincerity. But can you? Can you really be there in more ways than just tonight? I'm here now, aren't I? Can't we just take this one step at a time? Jack offered. A stillness wrapped around them as they surveyed the crowd, each moment stretching between father and son. It was a pivotal moment in what felt like an endless cycle of hurt and misunderstanding. Just then, from the corner of Jack's eye, he spotted a distant uncle chatting animatedly, oblivious to their exchange. I'll give you a chance, Ethan finally said, his tone softening. But it's going to take real effort. I want to see you try. Jack felt a flicker of hope. I will. Promise. As they resumed dancing, an unexpected feeling of relief washed over Jack. It was just a few moments, but it felt like a foundation they could build on together. Yet, beneath this hopeful reunion, Jack sensed an unexpected tension still simmering in Ethan. It nagged at him, a whisper crying out for resolution. What else is there? Jack finally asked, not wanting to leave the conversation at a superficial level. Ethan hesitated, his gaze dropping to the ground. There's something about tomorrow. About the wedding. I need to discuss the guest list with you. Jack's stomach dropped again, sensing the importance of what was coming. What do you mean? Is there someone I want to get to see? Ethan's silence was deafening, filled with unspoken truths that seemed to stretch between them like an unbridgeable gap. Then with a quick breath, Ethan looked up, his eyes steady. I banned you from the wedding for a very specific reason. Jack's heart pounded, confusion wrapping him tight. What do you mean? Ethan swallowed hard, his voice shaking with a weight that seemed too heavy for him to carry alone. It's about a bill. An 80,000 bill. The world around Jack seemed to tilt. What did Ethan mean? Why would there be a bill standing in the way? Everything he had hoped for felt on the brink of collapse as the night loomed heavy with uncertainty. Jack reached out, grasping for something solid, something to hold onto amidst the turbulence. You need to explain. Please. Ethan's expression strained with anxiety, and Jack realized this was just the beginning of a revelation that would shake everything they thought they knew. What lay ahead could either bind them closer or tear them apart once more. Jack felt dizzy as Ethan's words sank in. The air felt thick around them, as if the very atmosphere conspired against the fragile bridge they had begun to build. Ethan, I don't understand. An 80,000 bill? What does that even mean? Ethan's eyes fluttered, pain reflecting in his gaze. It's not just any bill, he exhaled, his voice barely above a whisper. It's the bill from the hospital. The one from when everything went wrong. The one you said you'd help with but never did. The memory hit Jack like a cold gust of wind. He remembered that night vividly, the chaos, the sirens, the waiting. He had promised to help, promised to make things right. But life had twisted in a way he hadn't anticipated. Ethan, I thought it was taken care of. I was under the impression. He struggled for the words. No, it wasn't taken care of. Ethan interjected, his frustration breaking the surface. That's what I've been telling you. I've been stuck with this mountain of debt because of your absence, and now it's creeping into my wedding plans. Anger and regret clashed in Jack's heart. Why didn't you tell me? I would have figured something out. Ethan straightened, his chin lifting defiantly. I shouldn't have to carry this weight alone. I thought if you wanted to be part of my life, you'd realize the impact of your choices. You still aren't getting it, Dad. Jack's breath hitched, and he felt like a stranger to his own son. Each word Ethan spoke cut deeper than he thought was possible. I didn't want to hurt you. I thought that's exactly the problem. Ethan's voice broke slightly, revealing hurt beneath the anger. You always thought, but you never checked in. You didn't visit, didn't reach out. I was left to deal with everything. And now, on what should be one of the happiest days of my life, I have to worry about debts and decisions that should have been dealt with years ago. Jack was reeling. The crowd around them faded into a blur, the celebration feeling unjust against this raw confrontation. So because of some old debt, you're banning me from your wedding? Is that really what this comes down to? Ethan looked away, jaw clenched, an internal battle raging. It's not just the money, Dad. It's the principle. I need to feel secure in my future. I can't have you there if I feel like you might leave again. Jack opened his mouth to argue but paused. Death, bills, loss, and finally, this moment, a wedding that was supposed to bring joy, now felt like a stranglehold on both of them. Ethan, I can't fix what has happened, but I can help you now. Right now. Let me help with the bill, take it off your shoulders. Ethan pulled back, shaking his head. You can't just buy your way back into my life. It's not that simple. Each word was a step back, creating distance between them. Jack felt despair begin to seep in. Then what do you want from me? I want you to be present. I want to see you fight for us. Go into this wedding with an open heart, not weighed down by guilt or past mistakes. Do that and I'll reconsider. Jack's chest tightened. Could he really do that? Letting go of the past felt daunting, yet somehow he sensed it was the only way forward. He looked into Ethan's eyes, the hurt mingled with a spark of something hopeful. Then let me try, he said, a hint of determination shaping his voice. As long as that means more than just words. Ethan studied Jack for a moment, and for the first time he nodded slowly. I'll give you a chance. But we're starting fresh, okay? Tomorrow? We're putting everything on the table. Jack nodded, hope mixing with uncertainty. Okay. But as they began to move back toward the gathering, a thought lingered. What truths still lay in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered? What if the wedding unveiled secrets that could shake their fragile reunion? The night sparkled with lights and laughter, but in the depths of Jack's heart, he sensed a storm brewing on the horizon. One thing was clear, the past was far from over. Jack walked beside Ethan, each step heavy with the weight of their conversation. The chatter around them felt foreign, like background noise swallowed by the tension that still hummed in the air. Laughter erupted nearby, but Jack could only see Ethan's tense face and wonder whether he was truly ready to fight for a place in his son's life. "Is there anything specific you want to talk about tomorrow?" Jack broke the silence. He was grasping for a thread to pull them closer, but it slipped through his fingers. Ethan kept his eyes forward, resolute. "Everything, Dad. Just everything. We need to talk about how things got this way, why it's never felt like you were really here. I was trying to give you space to let you figure things out on your own," Jack defended, but his voice wobbled. The excuses felt flimsy, even to his own ears. "Space?" Ethan scoffed. "You mean avoidance, right? It's almost like you thought staying away would protect me." His voice drifted, a whisper laced with anger and sadness. "But it didn't protect me. Just made things worse." Jack's heart sank. Each word was a mirror, reflecting the mistakes he made, his silence, his absence. He had wanted Ethan to become independent, but the cost had been their connection. "I just didn't know how to be a father," he admitted, the truth spilling out like a long-buried secret. Ethan hesitated. "Maybe it's time you start learning." There was no venom in his tone now, just a bedrock of resolve. That scared Jack. They approached a small gathering of family and friends. Among them, Jack spotted a couple of old friends who'd been through everything with him, the laughter and the sadness, the nights spent sharing tales of fatherhood. Jack smiled weakly at them, trying to channel some of that warmth, but it felt forced. Wordlessly, Ethan labeled him weak and uncertain. "Look," Jack said, trying to rally his emotions and put on a brave face. "Maybe I can talk to the hospital. See if there's something I can do about the bill." Ethan shot him a look that felt like ice. "You can't pay your way back into my life, remember?" "I'm not trying to," Jack said quickly. "I just want to help. I want to show you I care." "Help means more than money," Ethan replied. "This is about trust and rebuilding what we lost. You promised me you'd be there, Dad. Now is your chance to prove it." Jack felt the walls reinforce around his heart. Trust was a two-way street, and wherever Ethan had parked his trust in Jack's driveway, they now covered it in weeds and doubt. "I want to be there," Jack said earnestly, "for you and for the wedding. I owe you that much." Ethan paused, consideration written all over his face. "Do you really mean that? That you'll be there without any reservations?" "Yes," Jack replied, the word firm and steady. As they returned to the gathering, the noise swelled. All around them, families embraced, friends exchanged stories, and love danced in the air. Yet in the midst of it, Jack sensed that love was an elusive creature, something he needed to work to gain back. Suddenly, everything shifted as Ethan's phone buzzed in his pocket. He fished it out, brows knitting together with concern. "This is from Hannah. She says she needs to talk." "It sounds urgent." "Who is Hannah?" Jack asked, confusion flickering in his mind. Ethan's face went pale. "My fiancé." The word hung heavy, the stakes raised yet again. "What do you mean urgent?" Jack didn't realize that the dread he felt had turned to fear, that there was more in store. Ethan's fingers trembled as he typed back, sweat beading on his brow. "I don't know, but she's saying it's about the wedding." As Ethan paced away to find a quieter spot, Jack felt the familiar knot of worry tighten in his chest. This wedding had become a battleground, but what if it turned into a war? What if the conversations they had ahead were not just about their past, but the future hanging in the balance? He glanced up, scanning the crowd for Ethan, feeling the distance growing again. What other truths lay on the cusp of revelation, ready to break apart what little bond they had fortified? The music faded to a dull roar in his ears, drowned by the thumping of Jack's heart as he braced for what was surely about to come. The laughter and chatter continued around Jack, but he had lost track of everything but the tightening knot of dread in his chest. He could see Ethan talking intently on his phone, his expression shifting as he listened. Jack took a moment to breathe. Just yesterday he had envisioned a joyful gathering, yet here they were, grappling with shadows from the past. "Dad!" Ethan called suddenly, cutting through Jack's spiraling thoughts. There was an urgency in his voice that made Jack's heart race. Ethan was still on the phone, and Jack could hear the faint sound of a female voice through the device. "I need you to come home right now," Ethan said, his tone firm and steady. It felt like he was trying to hold something together that was on the verge of breaking. "What's going on?" Jack asked, his concern growing as Ethan waved him closer. Hannah, she's in trouble. It's serious. Jack felt the color drain from his face. He took a step forward, heart pounding and anxiety swelling within him. What do you mean trouble? Jack said, his voice barely above a whisper. Did this have something to do with the wedding? Ethan hung up and rubbed the back of his neck, his expression darkening. She got a call from her doctor. There are issues with her health. She's scared and she thinks we might need to move the wedding. Tension crawled up Jack's spine. He could see Ethan trying to hold himself together, but the cracks were evident. What kind of issues? Is it serious? Ethan swallowed hard, his face pale. They might need to run more tests. I don't know, Dad, she's just really shaken up. Jack felt a surge of empathy. He had barely been present for Ethan, and now here was this woman. Someone he didn't know well but felt like he needed to protect. Okay, let us go home. We can figure this out together. Ethan nodded, but his eyes were distant. I just wanted one day to be happy before everything started going wrong. Sometimes all we can do is face it together, son. Jack reached out, placing a tentative hand on his shoulder. It was a small gesture, but it felt monumental in the moment, like a bridge over the chasm that had widened between them. As they walked to the car, Jack couldn't help but think about the fragility of life, and the weight of expectation that had hung over their heads, day in and day out. He had hoped this wedding would represent new beginnings. It felt like it might unravel before it began. Did you tell her? Jack asked hesitantly, breaking the silence as they settled in. Ethan frowned, his hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. I told her I'd be there. But I don't know if she wants me to be. What if she feels like I won't be enough again? Jack's heart ached for him. It's hard, Ethan. But showing up? That's the first step. It won't be easy, but you need to stand by her and be honest. It's okay to feel scared. Easy for you to say. You were never really there when I needed you. There was an edge to Ethan's words, sharp and cutting. Jack flinched but held his ground. You're right. I can't take back the past. But I'm here now, and that has to mean something. Ethan's brow furrowed as if he was wrestling with something deep inside. Jack knew this was only the beginning of a challenging conversation. He sensed remnants of their struggles were still etched in the lines of his son's brow. Was this moment a chance for redemption or another step toward losing each other altogether? As they left the gathering behind, Jack realized they weren't just driving toward home. They were retracing a path toward reconciliation that felt fraught with uncertainty. Would he finally break through to Ethan? Could he help him find his footing when everything felt like it was crumbling? Just before Jack could voice his thoughts, Ethan's phone buzzed again, bringing a new wave of tension that sent a shiver down Jack's spine. Dad, it's Hannah. She says she needs me urgently. Ethan's voice cracked, carrying the weight of his worry, and Jack felt the familiar knot in his stomach tighten. Go to her, Jack said, urgency rising in his voice. I'll be right behind you. But as Jack watched Ethan's troubled face, he couldn't shake the feeling that this moment might either be the beginning of healing or a stark reminder of their fragile connection. What awaited them on the other side of that door? And just how fragile their bond had become? They sped down the road, hearts heavy with uncertainty, and Jack braced himself for whatever news awaited them, knowing it could change everything. The sound of rushing traffic blurred into the background as they neared home. Jack's mind raced faster than the car, picturing Hannah's frightened face and Ethan's distress. Each thought was a flicker of panic, consuming the hope he had clung to all day. He glanced over at Ethan, who stared fixedly at the road ahead, jaws set in determination while his eyes betrayed a storm of insecurity. Just hold on, Hannah, Ethan muttered under his breath, his grip on the steering wheel tightening. Jack felt the weight of his son's unspoken fears. Memories of sleepless nights trying to reconnect with Ethan now felt like echoes of a past he couldn't change but wished he could. As they pulled into the driveway, Jack felt a wave of vulnerability wash over him. What if he couldn't help Ethan this time? What if he lost him again? Here we are, Ethan said, voice steadier than before. But fear still lurked behind his words. He stepped out, almost slamming the door, the sound reverberating through the quiet street. Ethan, wait, Jack called, following him. He could see the tension radiating from his son. Let us talk about this first. I don't have time. Ethan shot back, his eyes wild with urgency. I need to be there for her. She needs me. Jack's heart twisted. He wanted to be supportive, to encourage Ethan to be there for Hannah. But the shadow of doubt dimmed his voice. Do you really think it's best to rush in? You need to be ready yourself. Ethan whipped around, frustration spilling over. Do you think I'm not ready? I can't sit here waiting for the worst. I have to go. For a long moment, Jack saw himself in his son an urgency to protect the people he loved, even if it meant blundering through the emotions that overwhelmed him. I understand, Jack said softly, but rushing won't help you be there for her if you aren't grounded. Ethan's shoulders sagged slightly, the fire in his eyes dimming. What if I don't know what to say? What if I mess it up again? Jack took a step closer, careful to check the frustration in his own voice. He saw the cracks in Ethan's facade and felt the familiar pang of regret for the moments he had missed. Just be honest, he urged gently. Let your heart speak. Sometimes words don't matter as much as being present. Ethan closed his eyes for a brief second, as if weighing Jack's words. What if I can't be strong enough? Being strong doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you show up regardless, Jack replied, feeling the gravity of the moment. You might surprise yourself. There was silence, the kind that hangs thick in the air, filled with the weight of shared experience and the tender beauty of connection. Jack felt a flicker of hope. Maybe this was the moment where they would start to mend things. Suddenly, Ethan turned and raced toward the door, but then paused and glanced back. Dad? Will you come with me? Jack's heart swelled with relief and gratitude. Of course. I'm right here with you. As they entered the house, Jack felt the familiar knot in his stomach loosen just a bit. He followed Ethan, sensing their shared purpose, the air thick with unspoken fears but also the weight of abiding love. Footsteps echoed in the hallway as they approached the living room. The warm light cast shadows on the walls, reminding Jack of the days when their laughter filled this space. The home felt different now, like they were stepping into a new chapter, one that might hold some healing. Jack saw Ethan pick up his phone, his fingers trembling. What if she doesn't want me to be there? As he pressed the screen, Jack felt the world pause. It was like standing on the edge of a cliff, waiting to see what lay below. This moment could reshape everything for both of them. Would it be enough to pull them closer together? Or would it bring them crashing down again? Just breathe, Jack said quietly, wishing he could somehow ease the weight pressing down on them. Ethan inhaled deeply and Jack held his breath too, feeling the gravity of not just Hannah's call, but their own fractured bond. When the phone rang, Jack felt the urgency in that single moment resonate through him. What awaited them on the other side of this conversation? The sound of Chris's voice drifted through the house as Jack prepared himself for whatever news was coming. Would they find clarity? Or would the truth push them further apart? Ethan's finger hovered over the screen, and the seconds stretched, making it feel like a lifetime. Jack watched his son, aware of the internal battle raging. This was more than a phone call. It was a lifeline to Hannah, a chance to bridge the gap between them, but also a potential heartbreak. Hey Chris, Ethan said, his voice a shaky whisper into the phone. Jack could barely hear the reply, but the tension in Ethan's body shifted. Is Hannah okay? Jack leaned closer, straining to catch every word. He wanted to grasp the situation to make it less daunting for Ethan, but all he could do was stand by and watch. Yeah, I'll come over, Ethan finally said. The look on his face shifted from apprehension to something more resolute. Just tell her I'm on my way. As he hung up, a wave of relief washed over Jack, but Ethan seemed frozen. What did he say? Jack asked, needing to know the gravity of this moment. Hannah's scared they're taking her to the hospital for some tests. Ethan clenched his fists. I have to get there now. Jack felt a chill run through him at the mention of the hospital. It wasn't just a place. It was where worries twisted and festered. Are you sure you want to go alone? Ethan shook his head violently. I'm not alone. You're coming with me. The urgency fueled Jack's heart, pushing aside the shadows of doubt. Okay, let us go then. They both rushed to the car, Ethan's steps full of purpose, Jack's marred by memories of past encounters. Each trip made to the hospital had layers, moments of joy and sorrow, strands of connection once spaced apart, all entwined together like a knotted string. As they clambered into the car, Ethan's face morphed into determination. I can't believe I've let things go this far. I should have been there before things got to this point. Jack watched his son, recognizing the weight of regret in his eyes. It mirrored the same burdens he had carried, longing to be more present. Ethan, you're here now. That matters more than you know. Focus on her. Don't look back. The car roared to life, and the streets blurred past them as they sped towards Hannah. Jack was struck by the sheer force of Ethan's fear, but also his resolve. Their hearts beat in sync, echoing the rhythm of worry treasured within family. Moments felt like hours as they approached the hospital. Jack's thoughts drifted, remembering the times he had let the fear of the unknown keep him distant. As they reached the entrance, he grabbed Ethan's arm. You're doing the right thing, son. Just breathe and be there for her. Ethan nodded but swallowed hard, uncertainty creeping back in. What if she blames me for not being there earlier? What if I can't fix this? Nothing needs fixing. It's about connection, Jack replied. You don't have to solve everything. Just being there is an act of love. They walked inside, the sterile smell of antiseptic filling the air, stealing the warmth from the moment. Names and faces rushed past, oblivious to the world they were entering, each carrying their own stories of hope and despair. A nurse at the front desk directed them, and with every step towards Hannah's room, Jack felt the tension coil tight. This was at a moment of truth where everything they'd been building hinged on what would unfold. Once at the door, Ethan paused, fingers brushing the cool metal. What if she's too? Jack placed a hand on his shoulder, grounding him. We don't know until we see. Just remember to be open. You're stronger than you think. With a breath filled with all the unspoken words between them, Ethan turned the knob and they entered the room. Light filtered through the windows, revealing a frail figure lying beneath the sheets. Hannah's eyes flicked open, immediately widening in surprise. Ethan, you came? It was a moment suspended in time, filled with hope and fear, connection and apprehension. As Ethan stepped forward, the distance between them seemed to dissolve, and Jack felt something shift. Was this what they needed all along, this act of showing up? Just as emotions began to settle, the room fell silent, and the nurse entered with a clipboard, her expression serious. We need to discuss the results from her test. Jack felt the world tilt on its axis. What would the nurse reveal? Would this moment become a turning point in their lives? Or would it bring on new complications they never saw coming? The room felt like a cage as the nurse began to speak, her tone measured. Jack could see the tension in Ethan's shoulders, the way his hands fidgeted, betraying the facade of composure he was trying to maintain. Hannah has some concerning markers, but we need to do more tests. The words hung heavy, thick with anxiety. Jack sensed Ethan's breath caught in his chest. Hannah turned her gaze to Ethan, her eyes glistening with worry. Ethan, I didn't want you to see me like this, she whispered, her voice shaky. Jack felt a rush of empathy for her gentle spirit caught in such turmoil. Hey, it's okay, Ethan replied, stepping closer, his voice strong yet tender. I'm here now. We'll get through this together. Jack watched his son, a warmth spreading inside him. Maybe this was the beginning of bridging gaps not just between the two of them but surrounding Ethan's new family. As the nurse continued explaining the next steps, Jack leaned against the wall, feeling like a spectator in a moment that meant everything. Something profound was unfolding. Ethan standing tall for Hannah was a shift he had longed to see in his son. He felt hope intertwining with the weight of worry. After the nurse left, a silence enveloped the room. The gravity of the situation hung between them, a mesh of fears and love. Ethan, Hannah started, but Ethan interrupted gently. Don't apologize for anything, he said softly, reaching for her hand. We'll figure this out. Jack marveled at how far Ethan had come. All those moments of contention and distance leading directly to this. Then came the moment Jack was dreading yet knew was necessary. Can we talk, son? He took a step towards them, voicing the chasm that still loomed. Just for a second. Ethan's eyes darted to Jack, uncertainty surfacing amid the charged atmosphere. I'm busy, Dad. I need to be here for Hannah. I know, but Jack hesitated, struggling as the emotions roiled inside him. What if we talk just for a few minutes? I swear I will stay out of the way after. But this moment? It's important. For both of you. Ethan glanced at Hannah, who offered a small nod of encouragement. Okay, but make it quick, he said reluctantly, moving a couple of steps away from her. Ethan, Jack began, his voice steady now. I know things have been rocky. You were right, I wasn't there in the past the way you needed me to be, and I can't change that. But I want to be different now. I want you to know I love you. I'm going to fight for that love. Ethan's eyes searched his father's face, and for a brief moment, Jack felt the distance shrink. You can't just say it and think that makes everything okay, Ethan said quietly, pain evident in his words. I don't believe that either, Jack replied earnestly. But I'm willing to put in the work. I'm here for you and I want to be present. No more hiding away. You deserve better than that. You deserve a dad who stands beside you, especially during life's storms. Ethan's expression wavered between hope and skepticism, and Jack could feel the walls weakening. Can you really do that, Dad? He asked, an edge in his voice. Absolutely, Jack said, resolute. I can't promise perfection, but I can promise effort. I want to learn how to be the father you need. I'm here now. Let me prove it. Ethan's breath hitched, the uncertainty in his eyes battling with an unexpected flicker of trust. What if I mess up? Then we'll figure it out together. Together, Ethan, Jack reassured him with that. Ethan's shoulders slumped, the tension easing, and a tentative smile broke through. Okay, let us try. As they moved back to Hannah's side, the air had shifted. Her expression softened as he settled back beside her, holding her hand tightly. You're both really here. Means so much. Jack felt a wave of warmth wash over him, and for the first time in a long time, hope bubbled to the surface. Maybe love could mend what time had frayed. As they shared laughter and worries, Jack could almost touch the possibility of their future, radiant and alive with promise. Stepping outside the room, he felt renewed. The storm within had settled, replaced by clear skies and a full heart. Every challenge ahead now felt surmountable. They were a family, flawed but full of love, and maybe that was all they needed to stitch their lives back together. Okay, we're in this together, Jack declared, looking at both Ethan and Hannah. Let us face it as a team. No matter what lies ahead, we stay united. With nods of agreement and the faint sound of laughter drifting through the corridor, Jack knew the road ahead might be tough. But standing hand in hand with his son and soon-to-be daughter-in-law, he realized it was a journey worth taking together. Now this is the moment you've been waiting for. If you felt a connection to this story, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel, so you don't miss our next exclusive transformation. Don't wait for another minute. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support really matters. And please, comment your thoughts and feelings about how this story moved you. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Show them the power of love and family. This is your chance to make a difference.